Welcome back. I've got a first in, first out review of a masterpiece film, and that is Fritz Lang's M. Now, this is a Criterion release that came out in '98. I bought it in 2001. I think it's spine number 30. Actually, what happened was, when this double disc came out, Criterion as well, this is spine number 30. I bought this in 2004, so I double dipped. And I'm going to triple dip because there's some Blu-rays out on this now that we'll talk about in just a second. Who can forget Peer Gynt's Hall of the Mountain King being whistled in this film? I mean, really, anybody that's a film lover knows this and recognizes it. Even if you're not a classical music fan, the Peer Gynt Hall of the Mountain King will forever reside in our brains just because of it being whistled by Peter Lorre, who apparently didn't actually do the whistling. There was a stand-in whistler for the film. What a wonderful and amazing piece of film this is. Fritz Lang and with his wife, who wrote the script, Thea von Bertau, wrote the script. In between World War I, the end of World War I, and of course the subsequent depression in Germany, and the rise of Nazi Germany. And a lot of people misinformed would suggest that this was based on the child killer Peter Curtin. But Fritz Lang, as he indicated, the script was already written and it completed well before Peter Curtin was even arrested. However, having said that, the film is based on the whole atmosphere in Germany after World War I, where there was a lot of serial killings going on. You had Fritz Haarmann, you had Karl Grossman, who apparently killed over 100 people. And all this stuff was in the news. And as far as the track, Fritz Lang was an avid newspaper reader. And I think he was enamored with the process of following the news, following the capture of these serial killers. And he really wanted to portray a movie that captured that essence. And that's what he did. This is not really, to me, a serial killer character study. The serial killer is a byproduct of this film. The real storyline here is it's a social commentary. It's about the haves and the have-nots and how they've come together in one unified goal, and that's to stop a serial killer. You have the police, and then you have the criminal underground, polar opposites, but with the same uniform goal, and that is to stop a serial killer. And the film really masterfully covers in great detail, almost in a narrative style, all the aspects of that process. Whether it's the police hunting down and following every lead and every clue that they possibly can, or the criminal underground taking matters into their own hands and forming a citywide watch team that is effectively trying to watch for anybody doing anything unusual with kids. And again, really the question in this film is, who will be more successful in the process of capturing the serial killer? It also, I think, is a statement film in terms of the death penalty. Although I don't really, I mean, I think it's, a lot of people would say it's anti-death penalty. I guess I can see that, but that's not particularly the predominating theme in the film. The real theme in this film is the same theme that Fritz Lang is in all of his films, and that's the individual and his battle against fate. You know what? In this case, you've got Peter Lorre, the individual, and his fate is pretty certain. He's going to get captured and sent to jail or hung or guillotined, whatever. And his battle is to try to survive and to keep from being captured by either the police or the criminal underground. And all that theme of the individual versus fate, I think, is pretty much predominantly in all the Fritz Lang films. It's just a wonderful film. It really is. It's a 10 out of a 10. It's a masterpiece. The camera angles that Fritz Lang uses, the cinematography, the lighting, the acting. I mean, it's just everything about this is just an incredible piece. And I think Fritz Lang has said more than once that this is his best film, and I would wholeheartedly agree. I also think that's Peter Lorre's greatest portrayal. Maybe Mad Love would be second, a very, very close second. And the irony of this is that Peter Lorre is hardly in the film. But the ending of the film and his impassioned speech in front of this kangaroo underground criminal court is so powerful and so moving that it's one of the single greatest portrayals acting I've ever seen. The only other actor that I can think that's come close to being that passionate and that moving and that powerful in an individual role for 15-20 minutes would have to be Charles Laughton. But clearly Peter Lorre hardly was in the first hour and 20 minutes of the film, and he didn't need to be. The film again was about the process. It's us watching a process and who's going to be first, the police or the criminal underground, in stopping this guy. You also have a lot of themes that really are clear as far as it's a point in time in Germany when you just finished World War I, Germany lost. They're in basically a countrywide depression. And now you have the rise of Nazism. So those elements you can see in the acting and the characterizations. Particularly the outstanding acting portrayal of Schreiker, the criminal boss. He was fantastic in this. And he's dressed, even the way he's dressed exerts totalitarianism and power. And you see all the elements of the rise of Nazism in this guy's portrayal. It's fantastic. I can't go without mentioning two of the actors in this thing. The guy that played I'm trying to remember his name now. Gustav Grunens, he also played Faust, Mephistopheles. He was just fantastic as the criminal boss overlord. And he of course is the one that comes forward with the plan to stop Peter Lorre by using beggars and trying to monitor every square foot of the city. So yeah, he was fantastic. The other guy I need to mention is Otto Wernicke, who played Inspector Lohman. He was outstanding as well. Both those guys ended up acting and continuing on even after the rise of Nazi Germany. They continued to act after that. Otto apparently had a Jewish wife, but he wrote the Nazis a fairly large check, and they looked the other way. And then Gustav was a big friend of Goering, the Luftwaffe, and so that he was buddies with him, and so he was able to continue to work in Nazi Germany no problem. Now Peter Lorre, who was born Laszlo Lowenstein, was Jewish, so in 1933 he beat a hasty retreat to Paris and London to get out of there, and wisely, I guess. The other interesting story is Fritz Lang's story about meeting Joseph Goebbels. In 1933, Joseph Goebbels said that Hitler had really loved Fritz Lang's movies and invited him to come visit with the intent of having him become the Nazis' basically their dedicated director, film expert. And Fritz Lang tells Joseph Goebbels, well, look, I'm Jewish. And Goebbels looks at him deadpan and says, we decide who's Jewish, Herr Lang. So, yeah. Apparently, and it's well known, common knowledge, that Hitler had some Jewish blood as well. So, yeah, you're Jewish if they tell you you're Jewish. Pretty funny. William, this double disc set from Criterion has a loaded special features. It's got an audio commentary from two guys from Berkeley, which was pretty good. And then it's got a 50-minute interview with William Friedkin interviewing Fritz Lang. Fascinating. It also has some, like a 20-minute, well, I guess it was more like 30-minute retrospective on the history of the actual film, what happened to the film, and what various versions of the film ended up in different parts of the world. And as a lead-in to my next comment, there's Blu-rays out on this film. Criterion released a set similar to this set, essentially this set, on Blu-ray in 2010, but it has a recently discovered British release of the film, a 93-minute version of the film. Eureka, Masters of Cinema, in the UK also has that on their release and other special features. So when you're looking at maybe buying this, if you don't have it, for me, I'm going to triple dip and buy the Eureka Blu-ray. It's got 2 additional audio commentaries, and it's got that British, never before seen British print, 93-minute print. This, if you have an earlier version of the Criterion, particularly this double disc set, basically the Blu-ray, the only thing you're getting additional with the Blu-ray is going to be the British release of the film, the 93-minute film. So my opinion is go with the Eureka Masters of Cinema Blu-ray if you don't have it. But the bottom line is, if you don't have M in your collection, you need to go get it. I mean, it's one of the best films of all time. And there's no doubt about it. And Peter Lorre, one of the greatest acting portrayals of all time, with the exception of, like I say, the only person that comes to mind that maybe beats that portrayal is Charles Laughton. Nobody else comes close to the power. And the last 20 minutes of M, Peter Lorre is just amazing, amazing acting, in my opinion. So do yourself a favor and pick up this film. If you haven't seen it, give it a watch, man. If it's been a while, I watched it 2 or 3 times. It's so damn good. It's an incredible movie. All right, well, I've swooned enough over what this masterpiece. I think I'm going to stop right there. But I appreciate you watching. Thanks.